Back to keeping it 100 with MiLo. I am Miles Lockridge, and my vision for this show is to be a vessel and an instrument for light through encouragement, storytelling, and shared experiences as I grow into my 20s. All my life, I wanted to do something great, to be something great. But I'd be lying if I said that I always feel like giving great effort. I do think that my discipline and dedication to a routine are some of my biggest strengths. But even today, I struggle finding the motivation to do things, whether it's chores around the house, going out and running errands, or even things that I typically enjoy to do on a regular basis. I am a morning person through and through. I typically wake up before the sun even rises, and I'm one of those people, and I hate to say it because I just think it's weird to say, but I have a 9 to 5 before my 9 to 5. And that's just how I function. I don't think I can get through the day if I don't do anything before my day. But that whole morning person get up before the crack of dawn was tested my senior year of college. I was student teaching all day while still on both the track and the cheer teams, along with number of clubs and organizations on campus. And to fulfill my training obligations, the days that I would have cheer practice after school, I would do track practice before school. So I would get up, and normally what I would do is I would get up, go through my little routine, and get breakfast, just kind of hang out until it was time to go to school. But I would have practice before school. So I would have to get up and immediately go out the door and go to the track. Just me and the coach, first thing in the morning. And some days it was nice to get up and get outside that early. Other days it was not so nice, especially the days that I knew that it would be a harder workout. But yeah, it was even more it was even harder to get up after long nights of club meetings and lesson planning to go and work out as the sun was rising. And sometimes, especially as the season went on, the I would be done as the sun was rising. But on top of that, I also didn't have the extra boost of my teammates running next to me or working out besides me. But I had to do it. So it got done. This week is all about how to find motivation when you have none and how to move forward when you feel behind. It's easy to tie together motivation and health and exercise. It's something that we all know that we need to do, but it's hard to always want to do it. It's easy to tell yourself, hey, I'm gonna eat healthy, but then after a long day, you just wanna pick something up on the way home. With busy schedules or being bogged down by comparison or just not knowing where to start, there is still that desire to go and do something, whether it's health related or not. It's an itch or a pull telling you to get up and go. We all have that why, so to speak, for doing something. Not to quote AMC Theaters, but it starts with an idea. We can all picture what it is that we want in our life, and that visualization is arguably the most important piece of knowing what it is you want. And then getting past that first step of knowing what you want to figuring out why you want it and also how to get there. I also think it's a bit of fear that comes with not meeting a goal and a bit of fear almost with starting something new or kind of branching out of your comfort zone. If it's worth having, it's worth working for. And I say, and I was writing this down, I was like, I'm saying it's easy a lot to preface this statement. Anyway, it's easy to start when you see everyone lined up on the same line. Kind of going back to that track analogy. It's easy to go for a goal if you see the people also going for that goal are all on an even playing field. But life doesn't have straight lines. It's hard to get going when you see people 5, 10, 50 steps ahead of you. Being 23 and living in my parents' basement, I often feel so far behind in life. And it's not that I'm just freeloading off my parents. Like, I have a full-time job and I'm saving up to get my own place in a couple months. But even then, just my peers have had all this experience of living on their own and doing all the adult things that I'm not necessarily doing right now. So I kind of just feel that almost anxiety of what do I do when I get there? Or do I really want to go and push beyond my comfort zone if there's no one there with me? If everybody's so far ahead, how do I get the motivation to start? But it really just comes down to running your own race. And I think that's the last running analogy in this episode, but I am more than likely wrong. But yeah, run your own race. My path and my timing is not the same as you and yours, or vice versa. Comparison is the thief of joy. I was just talking about this with one of my friends and old teammates on the phone yesterday. But yeah, comparison is the thief of joy. And that goes for trying to measure up your progress with someone else's. You're still making progress and getting closer to your personal legend, as my favorite book, The Alchemist, puts it. And that's all that matters. When I was in middle school, this is going way back, 7th grade, I was getting ready for basketball season, and I was in elderly wise 13 years old, standing about probably 5'7", 5'8". And my one goal before the first game, so before the season even started, was to dunk a basketball. And that's all I cared about. Not the skills that got me on the team in the first place, but because I had heard of people dunking by the time that they were my age, I felt I should be able to, even though they were probably a whole head taller than me and just a completely different set of genetics and circumstance. I would do jump training and now looking back on it, that probably helped me once I got really into track and going towards college, but nonetheless, I would do jump training in my garage every day. I do like jump squats. I only did the exercises I saw Derrick Rose do in commercials, which I think is very funny in retrospect. And when the day came, I couldn't hit a shot. When the first game came, I could not hit a shot. And really looking back, this today, present tense, my mid range is pretty good, if I do say so myself. But back in middle school, I almost had to be a post player because I couldn't really hit a shot because I spent so much time focusing on just trying to dunk. I couldn't hit a shot because all I cared about was doing what I have seen others do. And I neglected what I was good at or what I could succeed at. Sometimes I get bored. I will binge watch commencement speeches, as odd as that sounds. And I came across this one of this guy who was speaking. He was remembering his search for a college and his high school guidance counselor. nudging him away from dreaming too big. I think the guy wanted to go to Harvard or one of the Ivy Leagues, and his guidance counselor said that he told the kid, "You are a big fish in a small pond," and that he shouldn't go somewhere, and that he should go somewhere that he fits. The speaker goes on to say, and this is his culminating message to the graduating class, that it doesn't matter how big a fish or how big the pond is, so long as you're swimming. And with that, it's not about when you start or how you start or where you start, but it's more so that you start. It's just that, going back to Dory, just keep swimming. It doesn't matter how fast you're swimming, just swim. I am a bit of a believer in beginner's luck. There's this quote in my favorite book, The Alchemist, basically saying that you start off by getting a taste of success to build a strong appetite for it. Something I think that explains why in sports or anything technical, when you're trying to get the technique down and all of a sudden you make one little adjustment, that you don't know how to explain the sensation, but you know it just feels right. I think that is meant to guide you along the path. Even if you can't replicate it right away, you know what it is you're working towards. But of course, with that, and even along the path of replicating that just right feeling, there are ups and downs with anything. And similarly to how the tide comes in and out, there are ups and downs when staying motivated. Of course, it'd be so much easier to always be motivated and having a desire to work towards something, but that's just not always the case. And that's okay, because success isn't linear. It's going to have twists and turns, setbacks, and frustrations. There were countless times that I had no motivation. I was running on E, whether it was track, cheer, school, or whatever it was. But I had something that I was working towards, and I had something that I wanted to accomplish and become. And even when I didn't reach the goals that I wanted, because in college, like, of all my 4 years of doing collegiate track, I was all conference maybe once and never made it, or never even qualified for nationals. And that was my goal each and every year. And especially senior year was just very underwhelming, and just trying to, and not even being motivated, because I think motivation left early on that season, because I was coming off of a bad back injury, so I just didn't feel the same. So I knew my body was done with track. But that's where that discipline came in of, I know that I'm going to come to practice every day. And if that's all I can do, sometimes I think it's important to go through the motions. I think going through the motions keeps you in the rhythm of doing something. It keeps you active, it keeps you engaged, even if you're not all the way in it. Because even if you're, again, going back to that swimming analogy, even if you're swimming slow, you're still swimming. Even if you're crawling, you're still moving forward. But yeah, the reality is that motivation won't always be there, but your goals will be. A bit of a anecdote, kind of a longer anecdote, but so here in Kansas City, we just got a little bit of snow. It was only a little bit. I couldn't really do what I wanted to do with my day. So I started each and every day off slow. Just kind of, again, going through the motions, crawling in and out of bed. I would get up at the same time, go through my little routine, get right back in bed. So I wake up at 4. So I get up at 4, go through my little routine, be done about 4:45, 5, get right back in bed, lay in bed until about 6:15, do a little workout if I can get myself to do it, and just kind of figure out what it is that I'm gonna do with my day. But yesterday and the day before, um, instead of just counting down the minutes until I could go to sleep, I realized that there was something I could do. I could go and shovel the driveway, even though it's single digits outside. Hot take, I do enjoy typically, and I do typically genuinely enjoy shoveling the driveway. I don't know what it is about it. It's just, I can actively see my progress, I think. Um, but there's also just something calming about it. I could just turn on some music and put the shovel on the ground and bit by bit get the snow off the driveway. But it was a lot of snow. It was cold and I didn't have the best gloves. I never prepare for winter weather until it happens. So by the time I go to the store to get good winter gloves, they're all gone. So I ended up getting basically thicker running gloves because I have some running gloves that I have in my car when I'm scraping off my windshield in the morning. Those were not going to be any help in 2-degree weather. But so I didn't have the best gloves, and it was also slick, so I was slipping and sliding. So my back really hurts because I was straining my body to not fall over. Because if I would have fell, I would have walked inside. Full transparency. But my goal was to get the driveway clear. And all I could do, because my brother was out there with me, and we have one snow shovel. And so I was using a gardening shovel. So I was working twice as hard, getting half the snow that he could get. But every time I put the shovel down, I picked up some snow and got it off the driveway. So just bit by bit, it's not a matter of how much you want to do something. It's more so a matter of how much does this job need to get done. It's more so like what am I willing to work for rather than what am I motivated to do. But yeah, to kind of finish this episode out, I'm gonna give you guys some tips for how to keep pushing despite a lack of motivation, and even how to keep the motivation going. So first off, having a routine, having a schedule. I am a very routine person. I like to do the same things every day at the same time, typically, hopefully. I feel like my day gets really thrown off if something isn't right as it should be. But having that routine, having that schedule of even starting small, like if it's health, if it's working out, eating healthy, maybe just start one day a week. Start there, or even start 5 minutes a day. Because I'm learning a language. I'm learning I'm learning High Valerian on Duolingo from Game of Thrones. And all I do, just go, give me 5 minutes a day. I'm on like a 36-day streak. I'm killing the game, not really, but it's fun. It just takes a little bit of time. I do it right before I go to bed every day, and could I go to what's the island called? Can I go to Dragonstone and hold my own? Probably not. But if I was eavesdropping, I could probably pick up a word or two. So it's just keeping up a routine, finding a schedule, finding a rhythm to be able to replicate a process. Also, falling in love with the process, I think, is important. To not just see a goal and be I want to accomplish this goal and that be it, but being in love with the process of getting to that goal. So like with track, I it's track is luckily subjective. It's measurable. You can actively say, "Oh, you jump 7 centimeters further than the next guy, so you're better." It's more so just getting just inch by inch. How can I be better? What are things I can do at each phase of the jump? Whether it's the approach, first phase, second phase, third phase, the landing. Like, what are the different nooks and crannies that I can dig in to get closer to my goal? Setting the stage. This is something I do when, especially in the summer, when I go in the summer, I go and play pickup basketball at 6 in the morning, 25 minutes away before work, because I work at a summer camp in the summer. So what I do is I have all my clothes laid out. I have both my bags set aside next to the door, and all I have to do is get up, get out of bed, go through my little routine, put the clothes on, brush my teeth, of course, and walk out the door. And that's it. So I don't have to think about, oh, what am I gonna wear? Oh, I need to grab this. I need to grab this. Do I have everything? Because that thinking is like, I'll just go to next time. Like that thinking kind of almost pauses your progress. But with that, take ownership. It's your goal. It's your life. It's what you want to accomplish. So take ownership and take control of what it is that you want to do. So if you want to learn a language, learn the language. Write down the time. Like, I'm going to study this language at this time of day for this amount of time. And yeah, take ownership, control with you what you can control. With my different fitness goals, I realized that with everything being closed and the roads not being necessarily safe for travel, that was ironic. I don't know why I play air quotes. Anyway, with the roads not being safe for travel, I couldn't go and work out. I couldn't go and be as active as I would have liked to. I can't control the weather, but what I can control is doing little circuits in my room. There is an elliptical. I hate doing the elliptical, but there's an elliptical. There are little dumbbell sets. Just control what you can control. If there's a way that you can do something, do that something. But also give yourself grace. Not every day is going to be perfect. You're not going to get 10% better every day, but 1% better is still something. So you're also going to miss days. There are going to be days when you're motivated, when you're unmotivated, when you're sick and can't do anything. There are just going to be life situations that come up that kind of pause your progress, and that's okay. Success is not linear, but giving yourself that grace to be like, you know what, it's okay. Today didn't work out how I wanted it to, but tomorrow will. And celebrate the little wins, the milestones. What's something I do? I will go if I eat healthy throughout the week, I will go and get a little ice cream. I go to Freddy's and get a concrete vanilla with Oreo. And because I also some Fridays, I will go and wash my car, and especially I need to because of the snow. Anyway, I'll go to the car wash, but I'll first go to Freddy's, who's right across the street. So I go to Freddy's, go to the car wash, and then during the car wash, while I'm in the car wash, I'm just eating ice cream. It's great. It's tranquil. It's peaceful. So yeah, celebrate the little wins, celebrate the milestones. Throw yourself a bone. And with that, like, have incentives for yourself. So if I'm very against tracking like weight, but if you have an ideal weight, so kind of every couple pounds, do something fun for yourself. Do something that you enjoy. Have positive reinforcement, essentially. Um, yeah. So yeah, motivation comes and goes, but your goals are going to remain. So it's just a matter of how much are you willing to work for what it is you want, and yeah. And thank you all for listening. It's been a blast. Let me know if there are any other topics or questions you want me to discuss. And yeah, like, share, send to friends. And yeah, go be great, go be kind, go be greatly kind.